So if we introduce this bill, it will have a tremendous effect from a population perspective, from an economic development perspective, but also just the education benefits and what we can change. Another one of the impacts that this bill will have is that to the extent that we market it to these populations that are overrepresented when it comes to dropout numbers, we can drive achievement that way, because it will give a bit of hope to some students who may not have it currently, because if they think that my lot in life is sort of stuck to the neighborhood that I live in, which isn't necessarily the best looking neighborhood aesthetically. There's a lack of role models and what have you. They're not dreaming. And if they know that if I achieve where I am, I can go to college and I can be what I want to be, without having to worry about how will I pay for it, because I have no knowledge of how I can do that. So it will affect behavior in K through 12 as well. And the REACH scholarship is something I'm absolutely committed to, and I know that I introduced it in July of '07, so we're talking about 2.5 years at this point, and we haven't gotten it passed. We haven't even gotten the bill out of committee yet. So one of the biggest challenge to us in the General Assembly is not the idea. Everybody says it's a great idea, how are you going to pay for it? It's a great idea, how are you going to pay for it? And the argument of that budgets reflect priorities, and that we can identify $350 million in the current budget as it is, has not worked, particularly in these tough budget times. So one of the things that we found a pot of money. Pennsylvania is one of the few states that does not tax lottery winnings. So what we are proposing as of sort of next week, we'll be proposing a small 5% tax on lottery winnings. That would generate roughly about $92 million. It won't get me the program as I see it, as I originally proposed it, but it will start the process. So if we are able to get this done, because we found the money, and that was the biggest challenge, is we found the money, now everybody sort of agrees with us, now we can get this thing moving. It won't help as many people as we originally envisioned initially, but it's a start in the process for us to get this done. And the way that we had to restructure it is it's going to go, it's going to be based off GPA still, but class rank is going to come into that. And hopefully we spur a race to the top with this new iteration of the REACH scholarship program, and having it based on class rank. But the same sort of parameters still apply. They still have to stay here. They would still get the scholarship, which is portable to any school as long as it's located here in Pennsylvania. So if we're able to do this, my estimation is that after a year or two in, people will be calling for us to expand this to our original vision. And at that time, I would hope that we be out of the recession and be able to fund it at the levels we need to send 30,000 to 40,000 youngsters to college each year. And a little bit about, I guess, K through 12 education. I am a big supporter of school choice when it comes to education. And I say that for a number of reasons. And the best reason is that I am school choice. I am a native Philadelphian, but as I got into middle school, my mother moved from Philadelphia to the suburbs based on one reason: education. She thought that the school system here in Philadelphia was not sufficient for her children, so she moved to a better place. She moved to the suburbs so that we could receive a better education. And that's a choice that people are making in this city all the time. And to the extent that we can provide those options in Philadelphia, we can maintain our population and our tax base. And when I say I support school choice, that means I'm a big supporter of charters. And you run a charter school, and I've been to this charter school this week, and it's a great environment. It's a change of pace from what's currently happening in our, your building is 2-3 years old. The average school building in Philadelphia is 60-70 years old. And, that presents a number of challenges relative to school environment. And it's also about leadership. It's also about leadership. And my contention is that if you are not prepared to come to school every day to motivate young people, then you should find something else to do. Because this is the biggest issue for us, is making sure that we, number one, close the achievement gap that exists between whites and other minorities. Because we have to. We have to. If we are ever going to do anything about the generational poverty that exists currently in the city, we have to attack it through education. As Horace Mann said, it is the great equalizer. And we have a system that is going to be, as long as it's based on property value, is going to be inherently flawed initially. But with that, we still have, there's a lot of things that we can do. Particularly one of the other bills that I proposed relative to the core curriculum of K through 12 is that we start teaching conflict resolution, media literacy, and financial literacy, which will help us, get rid of that mental block when it comes to finance in college, and people understand sort of just the basics of finance. And also, I think we will get better outcomes from our young people in terms of behavior if we teach them early on to understand the messages that they're being fed, by understanding sort of what's being marketed to them and how to respond to that in kind based on, number one, your values and your sense of right from wrong. And also, conflict resolution is this other huge area. We have a tremendous issue with school violence, and that seems to me to be a lot of that is our young people don't have the necessarily coping skills to deal with conflict currently, and if they're taught that at an early age, they can sort of stay focused on their main goal, which is to be successful, and they won't get into those antisocial behaviors that they're currently getting to in mass. And you see the newspaper reports about that with what's happening at the gallery and sort of the organizing mobs and those sorts of things. That's I guess all I have relative to this, and I want to open it up to questions, and I'll also talk a bit about another bill after sort of we do some question and answer about the green economy and how my plan to help Pennsylvania be a leader when it comes to the green job sector. So with that, I'll open it.
Your REACH program seems to be directed at the college hopefuls, basically in high schools. Do you have any visions for the ones who are not hoping for any college, or maybe make them college hopefuls?
Well, there is. I mean, it's our hope that there is a community college component there. It is our hope that the marketing that's associated with this, people get a sense of the job market as is, and understand that you're going to need some sort of training. So we hope to, after sort of a year of implementation, we hope to expand it to include sort of technical schools and those sorts of things, because gone are the days where you can graduate from high school, go work in a factory for 30 years and retire. Those days are long gone. So that's sort of the hope